Funding meant for traders. Ment Funding.
All right, what's going on, traders? So one of the biggest things at Ment Funding is that we try to do everything transparently, very, very clearly. We try to improve everything that we do for the traders that are actually working with us. And part of that is actually the way that we run our competition. So since the beginning of time, not the beginning of time, more so literally just 2023 actually, but going back all the way to 2021 when we first founded, we've had competitions available to traders every single month, giving them a chance to actually win an account, a very large account potentially, to get funded with the firm, right? So if we take a look at this, right now we've commenced on a new competition already, and we already have 1,600 contestants, which is just amazing to see. And as you guys know, we have the first 14 places currently that get paid out. And you get paid out in the form of an actual one-step evaluation all the way up to a $400,000 valuation, which is kind of wild if you think about it. And if we just head over to the website just for a second and come down to the select funding plans here, as you guys know, we are the only firm that just does things in a very straightforward manner, just a one-step, nothing else. We don't do the nonsense two steps, the instance, or any of that other stuff. We have very, very kind of as fair rules as we possibly can. No trailing drawdowns or anything. Of course, read through the rules to understand everything, but Forex and futures both available with accounts that are literally up to 400K on futures and up to 2 million on FX, with the scalability on both up to 5 mil. So of course, like, you can do some insane things for yourself. But when somebody wins one of our competitions, they literally put themselves into this right here. They're quite literally winning about $3,000 just kind of outright. And they have the chance to go and trade their systems and to make profits. And, you know, just the natural 10% profit or target is, if you guys think about this, around a $40,000 gain. So the way I want a lot of you to take this in as we look at this right here is that a lot of these winners, a lot of the people that perform in this competition, those that get into these 10%, 14%, or even higher levels, like they are meeting those profit targets, which is kind of like insane to think about, because you can almost prove to yourself how much is actually available and possible just by showing up to these competitions. So this is also me telling you that, you know, if you never want to do business with us or anything else, at the very minimum, sign up for these competitions every single month and just trade your system. You never know when that might lead to a big win. Now, what we currently have for the rule set that happened in this previous month right here, so this was in July, currently we have August that's running, and if you take a look at the rules directly, we removed the current profit cap. So we're going to see how that kind of goes with no profit cap now. And we have other rules like just other rules that kind of stop people from doing one-shot strategies and, you know, they just basically going all in and no consistency at all and just getting a big trade off of many accounts that they're running, right? Because we're actually looking for people that are, well, that are attempting to trade, that aren't really gaming the system, that aren't just here for the prop firm to get the account and run away, but are here to be people that are likely going to be trading in the long run. And the goal is, if we can find people that are going to be trading in the long run, then they're going to be the long run traders that can work with us. And those that are profitable are the ones that are going to make our firm a ton of money, right? Since 2021, we've operated the same way. Here we are. From 2021, we've operated the exact same way. We were the ones that came out with the no time limits, one step. And of course, we have paid out 100% of all requested payouts. But nonetheless, the August rules, the ones that's currently going on, and you should always read these to be up to date, is that there's no profit cap or anything. But for July specifically, when we go into July here, when we look specifically at the rules, so if I open up the rules here, we of course had a rule that said do not exceed 14% of profit. So of course, something that we do is we try to continue to put rules in here that make it very clear what we're looking for. And we do switch them up because we want to switch up how we might potentially look at consistency or improve the ways we look at consistency. And if you guys know, the Ment Funding Discord is extremely active, and you're more than free to come in here, to tag me, to talk with me directly. We have consistently been upfront with every single member that we've ever been able to work with competition people, with people with accounts, with payouts, everything. So just, yeah, you feel free to do that. Nonetheless, this is now the actual kind of breakdown of how we run some of the kind of the winners. Like, what do we actually do to figure out like who's winning, or who has the ability to be placed from first all the way to 14th? And it's important to note that we are still we're investing a ton of money right now in capital into making this leaderboard actually take into account more things so that the leaderboard will be much more accurate in terms of who is going to likely be within the winners. But at the moment, and as we continue to work on doing that, we do some of it manually. And you're going to see the process of that manualness today. And you can let me know if you believe it's fair, unfair, unjust, whatever it is that you feel. I'm more than happy to hear and improve for coming months, which is why if you participate, if you type, if you come to me, if you talk with us, you basically have a hand to play in how we go forward, right? So let's look at July. Here's July. As you can see, like all these guys right here, sadly, are not going to be like making any money. They're not going to be in the winning places at all, just because, you know, just wild big returns that were over the rules, and the rules have a specific state to them. So what we did is we processed a lot of the accounts. Let me actually move this over. Here, let me move myself over. Actually, no, that's not going to work. This is actually fine. So I'll move this over a little bit right here for now. Here we are. So what we've done so far is we've processed a number of the accounts just using the basic rules. So this is literally every single rank from 1 to 30 of 30 people that are ranked from 1st to 30th, right? In terms of just the basic rules that were written out here. So don't exceed 14%, single trades over 5% profit are going to be capped. And yeah, basically just those rules. So just those rules have led us to this top 30. And now, because of the manual process by which we do these things, I want to walk you through how kind of consistency is thought of, so you can see firsthand what it actually looks like to potentially be consistent or seem consistent or whatever it might be, right? Because part of our rules, as you guys know, is no martingaling, averaging down, one-shot trades. These could lead to disqualification, unrealistic risk or excessive leverage, unnatural equity curves, highest profit not winning. We already know that. So let's take a look at this right here for the first time. So I just downloaded this because I have people that work on this and they've sent it over. So I've just opened it and I started this video so I can show you guys the process by which I go. And when I look at this, right, I want to basically ask myself a few questions, right? The questions are simply, is this trader clearly trading? That's the first question, right? It's a weird question, but does what the equity curve represent some formula for actually trading, right? 2, does the trader not just take wins, but also take losses? And when they take losses, what do those look like in terms of their curve, right? That's important. How does the curve actually look overall? Does it look like a one shot, or does it look like someone showed up and each trade that they took had an impact as to how that equity curve had played out, right? So these are just some of the questions that go through my mind when I look at these, and hopefully you guys can help me with some of this for the future. But right now I'm going to walk you through a manual way within which we do this. So when I look at this rank 1, I instantly, I'm just going to make it super simple. Let me move this over so you guys can just kind of look at them with me. I'll just zoom in so you guys can see this. Right, when I look at this rank 1, all I can think to myself is this is relatively good and within what we're looking for, right? This is someone that stayed under the profit cap in this case, under that 14%. As this trader takes trades, multiple trades, one trade is not leading to the overall equity curve and equity gains on this account that are just kind of preposterous out of nowhere. There are steps that are taken to get to basically the top of the curve, right? The steps are taken through good losses. It's clear the trader is taking losses and potentially multiple losses. It's clear there's risk management to the trader system. It's clear that, he goes through his peaks and troughs. He goes through peaks and troughs, and he actually goes into deeper drawdown. If you pay attention to this, especially from the way that I teach personally to a lot of members I work with, when it comes to just trading in general, if you pay attention to this data point right here and this data point right here, this trader, for the most part, from around 7 trades up to around 40 trades, by looking at the bottom right here, spent his time in drawdown. All that means is that from literally this point here to this point here, the trader hadn't really made money, right? Because he made money here, lost some, made a bunch, was at all-time highs, and actually then lost and was around this area here, which put him at around break even from when he was here. So literally this is phenomenal, because what I'm seeing is I'm seeing someone that can consistently take a number of trades, which is very, very important. And that number of trades is actually leading to an overall gain through basically steps. And the steps that are taken are not wild. They don't make exuberant, no, they don't not make sense, right? There are proper peaks and troughs. There's proper wins and losses, and that takes them to the top, and in this case, puts them right here. So when I see this, all I can think is green, this is good. And I can also look at the trading data of that exact person, Jor23, so it seems like he's clearly going to take the winning place because, 1, he met the equity rules, 2, there's no reason for him to be disqualified, 3, if we take a look at this, right, he's taken, 64 trades, he's seen a win rate of around 50%, which is great to see. Like, again, it can be lower than this. There's no problem with that, but this is phenomenal to see. And for the most part, this trader takes wins and losses and wins and losses, and there's a clear consistency to what he's doing. So very simply, he deserves to have first place. And I want something to be clear here, because I know a lot of you that might be watching this have also, and I probably do believe deep down too, that you also deserve to potentially win these prizes. And I'm going to say this very clearly. Many of the people that participate in these competitions every single month deserve, in the way that they trade, deserve a prize, quote unquote, right? Because a lot of them may have very similar curves. It just might be the difference that instead of making 228K in terms of profit, or $28,000 in profits, they might have made $12,000 in profits. So those people simply lose out because this is a competition, right? It's a competition where we're trying to provide free access to potential funding to a lot of people, but it doesn't mean that we'd just be able to just hand that out down the line all the way, like, oh, you did well, you did kind of well, let's just fucking send it, right? That's just not how it works. So what I want to do is I want to take this moment to remind you that if your curves also look similar and you just have had less equity or whatever and you don't end up winning, remember that does not make you a bad trader or a losing trader. It actually makes you a very good and profitable trader. And part of the competition is to show you that you're actually profitable and have consistency. So hopefully it can be a stepping block for you to actually focus your own resources, your own time on trading smaller accounts, on trading a smaller potential evaluation, on trading a smaller account on your own, on continuing to participate in these itself, or to simply gain confidence and experience in what you do. Because part of doing well in these as well is that you're going to gain huge confidence and experience so that when it comes time to do this again, well, you get to do it again with no issue. Okay, so very clearly the rank 1, just given the rules that we have, no exceeding 14% and the 5% profit cap on each independent trade idea, coupled with the fact that we have this equity curve, leads to an overall yes. Basically simple as that. So this guy's going to be a winner. That's it, right? Congratulations if you're watching this. Now, rank 2, this is where some alarm bells go off, because I know that the equity curve might not be the best showcase of what actually happened. But when I see this here, what I instantly see is I see someone that understood there's a profit maximum that we were looking for, which is 14%, and basically all in a few trades that led to very good trades, probably with a much higher win rate, made a ton of money on those trades without ever really losing any money. And by the time it was time to maybe even lose some money, he was already up here, which means that his risk might have already been reduced. So when I first see this, I'm at a yellow or almost a red. And the idea here is, I'm assuming even though that this was profitable and he ended up making money, we don't really have enough data to actually judge consistency. There was not enough peaks, not enough troughs, not enough trades that really said, hey, this is someone that understands what they're doing, that isn't just all-inning trades and ending up playing it out, right? Because again, if you have 2,000 people, you are guaranteed that 10 people can all in 5, 6, 7, 20 trades in a row and make money. So this is a very important thing to remember when we look at things like this. So the first thing I want to ask myself is, what actually happened here? So I want to go to where he is. So this is the rank 2 guy at the moment. And you can see there's only about 19 trades taken, not a lot of trades taken. And if we look down this left-hand side, you can see there was a huge profit cushion built, profit cushion built before any loss was taken. And the first loss that was taken was minuscule, literally tiny in relation to the rest of the account. So when I see this, all I see is a one shot. I see kind of a home runner kind of that just occurs, right? There's no peaks and troughs. There's no kind of proof of drawdown. In a sense, the way you can think about this is a trader that is simply kind of all-inning or taking multiple trades in one direction will do it over and over and over again, and they can be successful 95% of the time. But 5% of the time, they'll blow up their entire account and their entire net worth, right? So when I see this, all I can think to myself is, we didn't really get a chance to view anything, right? And like the reality of this is you can see there was a little bit of curve fitting kind of going on maybe near the end where he was trying to get very close to that 13.99 or that 14%. So when I look at this, right, I kind of want to eliminate almost these trades here because I'm even going to hide them just for a second because those trades don't really speak to the system that was going on. And there is no real consistency really between wins, losses, or even enough losses to tell us what's going on. And there's also a very high win rate. So we don't actually know what happens to this trader when he goes through natural losses. So because of that, when I first look at this, this tells me the story of more of an all-in based trader, right? So someone that kind of maybe even has multiple accounts, maybe not. If you're watching this, by the way, maybe you didn't have multiple accounts, but basically one-shot home run a few trades, got to the profit target that we had asked for, and then just kind of stayed around there, kind of curve fitting up to perfection. So when I see that, the first thing I think is it doesn't really add up to a consistent system. But at the same time, what I do think, and this will also be true for a lot of people, if this is something that you are able to do consistently and do over and over and over again, especially at a level where if we really look at this, right, like you have a profit of $3,000 off the first trade, then $6,000, then $7,300, then $4.6K, right? Like these are insane numbers. And then you just kind of stay around and then back to like 1,600, 2,300. So when I see this, especially the first few trades being worth like 20K, the question becomes, are you just doing this on an account to try to get there? In which case, it is what it is. Or, right, do you have many accounts and this is just only consistent with one account? But also what my mind goes to, especially if you maybe are experiencing something similar, is that if you are capable of doing something like this and doing it consistently, especially, something you should do is to consider actually getting an account itself, whether it be a 200K, 25K, 50K, whatever it might be. There is no reason that you shouldn't at least have some account with these kind of returns, right? Because this is 30 days, and this is an insane return for 30 days as well, especially the way that those returns were made. So just something to keep in mind. But because of that, I think it's fair to assume that this is more of a one-shotty kind of system. Now, rank 3, the second I look at it, all I can think is, this works. This is beautiful from an equity curve. There's nothing else to say about it. This looks like this trader has a 50% or under win rate. This looks like a trader that takes consistent wins and losses, very important, and managed trades. You can see some of these trades are minor losses, minor wins, and small break-evens, which is very good. And a consistent system usually has a good representation of those throughout its lifespan. So this trader here clearly has like a few nice wins, losses, peaks, and troughs, spends time at break even, understands to spend time at break even. The trades that are winning or making him money aren't all done in one trade or one run that just kind of happened and then we're just looking at like a 14% profit and then go sideways or whatever. This is consistency across the board from beginning to end. Good losses, good wins. It goes without saying. I think this is a very clear thing. And if I look at the stuff here, yeah, around 60% win rate, perfectly fine. Could have been 30%, 40%, 20%. Like, again, these win rates are completely acceptable. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can see, doesn't randomly out of the gate just make a ton of money and then just start trading tiny, but makes the profits on the stuff that's good, takes losses and takes good losses on the stuff that's bad, takes consistent losses, smaller losses here, bigger losses there, bigger wins, smaller wins. Like, this is consistent. This looks really good. Perfectly acceptable. Moving on to the next one. Now, this one's a little harder because it does fit more of that kind of goes up and then goes sideways. But what you do have here is you have independent trade ideas that are very clear, where even in the beginning, this trader starts out with taking some break evens. This trader then goes into taking and making some profits, then takes break evens or losses, break evens and losses. So again, there are still steps being taken. There are still peaks and troughs that the trader is undergoing to get to highs. So again, I'm going to speed this up a little so you guys aren't stuck here listening to me for like 30, 40, 50 minutes. But this looks good. I think it's acceptable. We continue. So this is now second. This would now be third. And we simply go to rank 5 now. So again, and that would be the fourth guy. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, this looks completely fine. I don't think there's anything about this that's like, oh, well, this one, before I even go to it, is just, like, this is already a red. So this next one, wherever it is, there it is. This is instantly a red, right? So the reason it's instantly a red, by the way, is because this is clearly a system that either one is very, very profitable, and that's amazing, and he's making a fuck ton of money, or two, which is what I've seen happen a lot of the time, and I'm not calling it out for this, but what I've seen, which is why I'm deciding to make it red right now. 2 is a system that is primarily based on a more like kind of averaging down, algorithmic kind of take tiny profits, but the losses are going to destroy an account. So what I see here is I see a beautiful looking curve. Oh my God, it looks like it's going straight up. That's amazing. But the reality is a straight up curve like this doesn't actually define profitability in a sense, right? Because what's happening here is we are not learning what your losses and actual losses look like, because, and I've seen this happen many times, a system that carries a 97% win rate, oftentimes the 3% or the 3% losses are a entire blow up of the account. So I've seen a lot of traders trade this way, where they think they can get away with it and it works, and they've bought like algorithms and EAs and advisors and stuff that do this, but it doesn't work out in the long run. So this is an example of that, where like it's clearly being, and if you look at this. So even his name is just numbers. I assume this is because it's running some algo or whatever. Again, it doesn't matter. The name doesn't matter too much. It's just like things that are like, what the fuck's going on here? But this is just the easiest. Clearly we don't know what happens with losses, and the only loss that we have an example of is a -28, which means the trade might have been closed at break even. So we have no actual proof of what happens when this thing loses, right? And the idea is that when this thing loses, it could be losing $30,000, $40,000 instantly, because a lot of curves look like that. So a lot of people that sell their algos online, and by the way, anyone that sells an algo is usually scamming you, so just keep that in mind. But most of the people that sell algos online, they work like this. They make a fuck ton of money and they lose everything that they've ever made and more, right? And then sometimes they make money and they recover and they keep making money and they recover, and then they lose everything instantly and forever, right? So what happens is a lot of people that are selling these algorithms and these systems will sell you on the data that they see here, and sell you on the data they see here, and the data they see here, and the data they see here, or even the data they see here, and go, oh, look, everything is fine. You go through normal loss into win, into big loss, into nice wins. But the reality of this system is, because of the way it functions with the win rate and the loss rate, when it does happen, or if it's like even lower, like 5%, when it does happen, it blows the account entirely. So that's what I see when I see this. And it might be the case that this guy's just a fucking genius and is just amazing. And this is actually his performance because he got the best trades he's ever gotten in his life. But we can't leave that up to chance randomly. So this is just very simply a red, and we move on. Now I'm going to speed up a little bit, but 22 trades, takes wins that make him a good bit of money, starts taking losses, actually continues to take losses, and then take wins that bring him to the very top. There's not much we can do here. This is a solid number of trades. This win rate's probably around like 50, even under 50%. But this is consistency, because again, we get to see what happens to the trader when they go through losses and what those losses look like. So when we look at this, right, great wins and all, can go through losses and take consistent losses, and then takes his wins. So again, it could be just a swing trading system. It might be a system looking at higher RR. It might be a system that works like any way like that. And you can see like his losses at maximum have been around like 1.5 to 1.7, which means in general, his nice winners or larger winners are responsible for a 1 to 8 or higher potential risk to reward, or 1 to 6 or higher, which means that at this win rate, this is more than profitable. So when I see this looks really good. And just like that, this takes the 4th place. And just like that, he gets to take the 4th place. And just to remind you guys, like if we look up his name, Jiggy, that was his name. So I'm just going to search that up. I believe that's his name. Let's look at this. Jiggy. So if I look up Jiggy and we look at this, like this was a guy that was in 56th place. Now this is a little bit interesting. Okay, he didn't trade that account, so it's perfectly fine. Yeah, so he was in 56th place, right? And now he is potential rank 6 with was a contender for rank 6, and actually now ends up being rank 4 guaranteed, which it's a beautiful thing to see, right? You have a guy that's in 56th place becoming the 4th placed guy and actually winning an account from not getting a single thing, and not just an account, but actually winning a 50K evaluation just like that, right? So it's an amazing thing that's available to a lot of people here. Now, this reminds me of what I see up here. So this rank 7 right here reminds me of exactly what I saw right here. They look the same to me in terms of the way that the system is playing out. There are consistent losses and good wins. Clearly the wins have higher RRs or really good risk to rewards. You can see, the win rate finds itself to be around the same. So just like that, we'll speed everything up and boom, Just like that, this guy takes 5th place. And just to put it into perspective, the name is Amina 200. And if I look that up, again, rank 41, right? Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, so near the end, actually, we had a little bit of curve fitting taking place, which is a little bit annoying, but takes some losses in the beginning, takes a very large win here, takes some decent losses back and forth and back and forth. Looks good, looks good, looks good, looks good. Then has this walloping 10K gain or whatever, 6K gain here. That so this probably got buffered. So this is an example of where, let me go like this. Yeah, so this is an example of where he got buffered for this single trade over 5% profit will be capped at plus 5%. So that's where that came from. And of course, we're gonna improve some of the rules. So that's, you know, this right here, like in terms of trying to get the perfect curve or whatever, is one of the reasons we removed the profit cap for the next one. And we're still gonna try to improve here and there and where we can, but this is from just a look at it instantly at the rank 7 here, right? That's rank 7, I believe. Let me take a look here. Rank 7, yeah. From rank 7 here, this looks perfectly acceptable given the rules that we have. There are losses, which is more than enough, and then he does take those wins at the end, and we're good. And clearly when he was taking these as a swing, right, these actually ended up going further, which is crazy to see. But yeah, good luck on your funded account. So rank 8, we have only a few trades, only around, and they kind of got maxed out after this one little run here, and after a few losses here. So there is some formula for losses, right? So you have this rank 8, which is around 66% win rate, actually starts out by taking an unbelievable sized loss. Like, not very consistent size of loss at all, right? Like 4.2K in loss off of the first trade and then 3K on the next. This means on average, if we're risking 4K per trade, is that like 5%? No, it's like 2%. So, you know, when I see that, this is someone risking 2% per trade, and literally one more trade like this would have led to full disaster, right? And these are happening out of the opening. So when I see that, importantly enough, even though this is a profitable curve, right, and you made money, and that's amazing, the reality of this is, and you can see like your next trade was an 8.5K gainer, and I'm sure if I go into it, you had probably just the same level of risk. Like you had a 2K risk again, or a 3K or 4K risk, right? Like your risk is extremely, extremely high. And that risk was sustained in terms of sizing from the very, very beginning, which means literally, you know, one more trade and you would have blown the entire account. And that's an important thing to realize because, you know, for others, the initial losses don't represent similar things, right? Where the initial losses have some form of variability to them that would allow the account to actually survive. Let's put it that way. When I see this, what I see is an account that is not going to survive. I see very few trades, which also, you know, I don't know exactly what that might mean. And like one of these was like a huge one that actually got capped. So because of that, this instantly gets the red check mark because, again, one more loss and the account was lost. This is an important factor. Because yeah, I mean, like these are 200K accounts. So if we go here, like a 200K account is what? The max loss on it is 12K, and you were at around 10K loss off the first like 2 trades. So hopefully people watching this understand like the reasoning there, but that is the reasoning that happens in my mind. Now, rank 9. Well, this reminds me of the stuff we saw above. This almost instantly puts me at a red, but it reminds me of what we saw here and here. Yeah, I mean, when I see this right here, all I can see is no losses, no consistent losses. We have no idea what losses look like. Clearly, all in one trick could have multiple accounts to all in one trick, or just you know, just all in basically. This is, you know, an all in and then just sitting at the curve's top. And if I go here to rank 9, we have a 40% win rate, but again, if we get rid of all the trades here, which are responsible for literally being tiny, tiny increments that aren't actually part of the trades that we're taking, and we just look at what actually was the bulk of your trading with literally no losses at all, and I delete these. I don't know if this will work for me to update this. There we go. Okay, we were able to do it. Yeah, so if you take a look at this without anything else, this is one of those examples where Oh, it doesn't update this win rate, so I'm gonna get rid of that. But this is an example where your win rate's actually like 99%. You have the same issue that we saw before, which is that we don't know what your losses look like. We don't know how you're getting to an equity place. And this is very likely inconsistent. But again, if you are trading and you trade this way and you make this amount of money, consider getting an evaluation for real, because this is insane. Anyone that has a curve that, you know, it's already amazing if you have a curve that can do this, or a curve that can do this, or a curve that can do this, or a curve that in the first place can do this. If you're already someone that has curves that do that and don't, let's say, make 28K, but only come up to, let's make, say, 5K or 6K or 12K, you are already an extremely profitable trader. And your goal should be looking for funding to start trading live, in some formula, right? Now, again, I'm not a financial analyst or advisor or whatever, but that's what the next steps that I would be personally taking given those kind of curves. So if this is truly a real curve, then put your money to work, right? Because this is insane. But again, when I see this, because of just natural consistency across the averages, this is likely inconsistent with a consistent trader. I just said consistency a lot of times. Now, rank 10, this looks really good. I mean, this is just, it's very quick, very easy. Starts out with small wins, break evens, small losses, small wins or bigger wins, takes losses, proper losses. Looks like he sized up a little bit maybe in risk in terms of, oh no, he doesn't, because he takes a few losses here, it looks like. Takes a few losses, wins into loss, into break even, into losses that are bigger than the break even. Like, this is great. And gets to whatever equity curve near the top, closes near the profit targets that we spoke about and had as rules. Perfectly acceptable. We have our next contender for the 6th place. Okay. Rank 11. So again, this reminds me a lot of the curve we saw right here, where, you know, that all we can do is just look at the fact that, yeah, he went through natural periods of drawdown. He went through multiple trades to get his way to the top. And this is perfectly acceptable. Now, I want to make sure, yeah, so this is something that is a little bit hard because our rule is you cannot go over the 14%. And I believe this 229K right here puts you over that level. Right, so that's a very important thing to kind of notice there. Like, yeah, that puts you over the level. So sadly, even though the curve is extremely clean and very much acceptable, you actually had a point within your trading that put you above the 14% profit rule, which puts it instantly at a red. So what I do want to say to the rank 11, especially if you're watching this, or the potential rank 11, so Mr. Liema, right, what I just want to say to you is it sucks that you're getting penalized for the curve fitting. 2, we have rules, so I have to follow the rules and be honest with every single person we do it with. Otherwise, everyone's going to have to play a little bit of wiggle room, which is not the way this works, because when is it too much, right? But continue trading with us. Continue trading, especially through the competitions or even through the evaluations, depending on which one is more possible for you given your current standing. And you are going to make a lot of money, especially if this is something that's consistent for you. Even if you are in your live trading a little bit more or less consistent than this, where like this win rate is a little bit lower than 61%, you are a profitable trader that is doing very well. So sadly, you're eliminated because of this rule right here. But keep trading and good luck in the future ones, okay? Now, rank 12, same issue as we saw before. There's just, yeah, this is the same issue as this right here. Rank 9, rank 12, this is all the same thing. This is just a very easy goodbye. Now, this is very interesting. At first glance, it reminds me of a lot of the systems that like double down or average down and take potential bigger losses but then make money. But I know that's not happening because part of the rules, what we're looking for is when a trade's been taken, what do they actually look like? And I mean, this is a clean curve. You took a lot, like 50-50, like win to loss, but your wins are worth more, so you're making money. And we can go and take a look at this rank 13 to see what it actually looks like, okay? Just so we can be extremely fair about what's going on here. And yeah, like, listen, Roy K, for rank 12, you had 100% win rate, man. Like, that's inconsistent. So just so a lot of you know, 100% win rate is one of the most inconsistent things that a trader could do, or a trader could promise you, or a trader could say. 100% win rate is inconsistent. It does not actually mean profitability. So keep that in mind as you move forward, okay? Or as you listen to other mentors or whatever it is. And high win rates also don't mean consistency or profitability necessarily, right? Because a lot of the time, people selling their high win rates have systems that would lose a fuck ton of money if they went through a loss, kind of like this this example here, where it's very likely that if this went through a natural loss, it would lose all the profits and more in the account and blow the account probably. Okay, so let's look at this rank 13. Rank 13 actually looks good at first glance, so I just want to see kind of what's going on, see what the trading actually looked like. So it looks like he started out with a really nice trade and then started risking a decent amount, not absurd risk. This is completely acceptable, completely fine in terms of risk, so nothing to say about that. Yeah, that looks completely fine. Time-wise, let's just look at some of the times in terms of trade openings, closes, and all that. 704 or 707, then opens this one after, so that's fine. So he waits to close trades. That's good to see. 643, 707, then opens another trade, 940. Yeah, so he's not doing these all at the same time, which is really good to see. And I have my team also look over and glance over some of these and try to spot things that I might not spot. But what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing a trader that's taking generally consistent losses and good wins. And clearly when he takes big wins, those big wins are capped because they're literally larger than the amount that is possible. And that's generally consistent throughout the whole thing. So yeah, this is really clean. This looks like a really good curve. And Jafex, I think you're good. Here we are. And we have our 7th place. Congratulations. Ooh, this is going to be a little bit of a harder one, I think, when we look at this. But let's take a look at rank 14. So rank 14, we're looking at very, very big win rate. Out of the gate, we go with, what do we got here? So this is all one trade right here, basically. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, so this was all like one trade. And so were these. These are all on the same day right here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So this went over the amount it should have gone. So I actually have to, I'm gonna pause this and have this re-evaluated. And I'll be right back once this is evaluated because it's important. Hold on, we'll be right back. All right, what's going on, guys? So I'm officially back. It's actually the next day because I had to re-go through everything because, well, actually while making the video and to be extremely transparent with literally anybody watching this right now, there were a few mistakes made. So let me show you actually what's going on here. This is what we currently had, right? We started going through them. We started kind of assigning the spots to each person, all good. And then we got here and I started to notice like some of the accounts actually weren't being accounted for in terms of the profit with overlapping trades. So just to give you a simple example, when there was a trade taken and then a trade taken and maybe a trade taken, we weren't looking, or for some reason, the people that I had working on this didn't look at these overlapping ones and limit the profit within these overlapping ones. So when we don't do this, well, it's not good, right? Because we need to overlap profits because we don't want everything just being made in like this one idea, all the money made, and again, you get the kind of curves that just go instantly up. So now it's a new day, and this is actually the previous curve right here, and a lot of the previous members remain. So like, look at this rank 1, 422, I'm going to open this up right here. You can see 422511 actually retains its spot, and then we got this rank 2 for 423048. So you can see the same guy here. So a lot of these are similar. They all kind of carry corresponding things. But because of some of the mistakes, we actually went back and went through every example of overlapping trades and made sure that anything over 14%, because it was the rule for this given month, or for July specifically, because this is for July of 2025, for a specific month, we had to get rid of those over 14% gainers, and we had to go back and look at the overlapping for the one-shot home runs or one trade being worth a certain amount because we want to be very fair. So I just went back through a number of these, and you can see some are very, very similar, and some share a little bit of difference. So this is the one we had, but this is the one now that we're on. And as I go through some of these, we'll actually be able to kind of go through them perfectly fine, acceptable, 1, 2, same issue that we spoke about, so got rid of it, 3, and now we have the third spot here. We saw this one, as you guys remember it. So this one is all good. We also saw the guy's name for that. That was my man, number 4. Yeah, that was Jiggy. So you guys might remember and recall some of these names from earlier in the video. Now it's a new day for me, so, you know, it's a little bit, yeah, so that's my man Jiggy there. And yeah, we're just going to close out of this one since this was the older one. And we're going to continue. So you can see as we go through these, we came up to like 5th, 6th. And then as we got to 7th here, you know, this threw us off because we have to double check what was going on here. And actually, when we put this back together, all overlapping trades and all trades taken into account, this actually does make its way back up and over 14th%. So some of these were wrong. And as a result, again, I'm making this video as honestly as possible so you can see that there's a real process to this, that we are as careful and as detailed as we can be, and as you all know, that we are improving the process with every passing month, which is also automating this so it's in the leaderboards as it is. Now, rank 4 looks really good. Rank 5, same thing, looks good. Rank 6, disqualification for the exact same reasons we spoke about. Rank 7, just a straight up, so disqualification. Rank 5, 427, 560. So this was also, you know, I think he moved down a little bit just due to some of these being placed together. You can see in this guy's example here, he actually had these 3 trades right here that made around 11K. 12K, which is over the 5% profit. So we had to bring those back down to 10K, which actually knocked him down a few spots and put him down in rank 5 now, or he comes 5th now. So let me get rid of this. So again, this will be the real updated version here, and we'll keep going. Now, again, I want to be as honest as possible. So we have 5 now, so we're looking for a 6th place. Rank 9, when I look at this at first glance, you know, I don't see a ton of trades. There are technically independent trades making their way higher, but a lot of these look kind of all-in-ish. This might just be an example of where you don't really have a lot of trades, and it's very hard to tell what's going on. So let's take a look at this. About a 70% win rate. Doesn't look like there's any like insane curve fitting or like just random trades. So each trade did account for this win rate. You can see first trade made him about 10K. The second trade was a 4K loss, which means he risked 4K, risked half of everything that he made, then made an 11K. So I'm assuming he risked 4K and made this back. Then risked 5K. So this risk is ultimately very, very, very large. I think it goes back to the example we saw before, where the guy just kind of started all-inning out the gate. And in this case, all we have is a trade that worked out before it actually failed. So, and we also don't have enough numbers or enough trades here to actually kind of judge that, this is something that's consistent and profitable for this person. So only for those reasons, I think it makes sense to disqualify in this exact case. But in Noba, feel free to message me in the Ment Funding Discord, tag me or anything. Let me know a little bit about your own system so I can even understand like what it is that you were doing to trade this way. Like what led to 9 trades? Are you trading higher? Are you trading lower? What's going on? And maybe, in the future, if you start to risk a little bit less, or if your risk is a little bit more consistent, we can do a little bit something with this, because I just don't think we have a good representation of losses. This just looks like, you're outright taking just huge risk on huge trades. And in this case, they work out, right? If we could even just double this, if these could all be halved, 4.5K minus 2K plus 5K minus 2.5K, that would instantly be a ton better. But right now, just looking at this is very hard to demonstrate like consistency or profitability. But message me in the Ment Funding Discord and let me know, okay? So we'll take a look at you. So for that reason, I think this rank 9 has to actually be eliminated. Rank 10, just at first glance, this looks really good. I mean, a lot of trades taken, clearly goes through chop periods, goes through losses, break-evens, gains, losses, break-evens, gains, clearly plays at around, we can see here, around even 50% win rate, which is good to see. Some trades are grouped together, which is perfectly acceptable. That's perfectly acceptable, nothing wrong with that. When you take losses, you can see the losses out the gate, at least up here, were relatively kind of large. Let's look at some of this. So like your very first trade was a relatively large loss, but then it looks like you brought down risk a little bit, made money, kept that risk around that 2K level, maybe 3K. So this isn't too otherworldly. This is kind of okay. And yeah, I mean, just consistently taking wins and losses here and there. I think this looks fine. Some of these are broken up into, yeah, I can see you break up your risk into like a $2,500 risk on 4 trades or so. Same thing here. Yeah, I think this looks completely fine. I mean, you have a lot of trades taken. Clearly, there's a demonstration of steps to making money here, and then you get to the top. So this actually puts you into good standing and puts you at rank 6. sixth as a winner for sixth place. We have 1, 2, just making sure, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Beautiful. Rank 11. This looks really good. I don't see anything wrong with this. I mean, you do take this insanely large. Actually, there's a few trades there, right? So let's take a look at the rank 11. So out the gate, you are getting huge winners. You're getting around 14K in wins. And these trades are, yep, they're opened independently of each other, which is good to see. So yeah, I mean, this is just a huge winner. So I don't know, again, if this is just an all-in or whatever. Maybe there's a way that we can start to kind of spot that a little bit better. And then you started taking 3K risk, 3K risk, 3K risk. So about $9,000 of risk just on the next 3 trades. Which, I mean, I guess you're trading with some of your profits, and you did continue trading over a while. So you are trading larger risk, but you're doing so after taking large wins, and you're doing it with at least more than like 10-ish trades. So if there was less info here, just like the one here, I think it would count as disqualification. But just because you have a little bit more, and it's clear that at least your ideas or your trade ideas at some level are leading to gains, leading to losses, leading to new gains, losses, gains, and losses. So you have proper management there. That is what's letting this climb. So for that reason and that reason alone, I think it makes sense to put you in a 7th place. Rank 12. So here we might be seeing a little bit of curve fitting, right? Like you start out nicely here, and then it looks like you're trading like maybe smaller size up inside of these areas here, which doesn't mean necessarily that it's wrong. But you know, when I look at these things, I want to make sure these competitions are improved for people in the future, which just means that I'm going to do the best thing I can to, you know, judge this and judge it fairly. So far, I think it's a yes, just so you know. Just, you know, first thought is that it's probably a yes. You started out with a 2K risk, which is, I think, acceptable, not too insane. You know, when you're trading that's rank 12, right? Yeah. When you're trading a $200,000 account at 2K risk, that's 1%, right? Yeah, so you're doing about 1%. I mean, that's fine. It's understandable. I mean, if you had any higher, maybe like 4K or 5K loss here, I think it would maybe be a disqualification, just because it'd be clear that you're just kind of, you know, flipping it up. But have a really nice trade here. You go through a beautiful trade, then you go through a few wins here. Yeah, I mean, that's solid. Then you go through some losses, back to wins, back to some losses. Every trade is independent of each other. I mean, this looks pretty good at first hand. So delete. I think this is completely acceptable and looks good. 9 or rank 13. I think this is almost instantly a red. I'm going to look at it very quickly, but again, only 7 trades, no consistency in terms of losses, no break-evens, not really clear that you're actually trading a profitable system. Might just be an example of a system like this, which only works for a certain amount of time and then fails, right? So think back to the example I provided earlier, where a lot of people selling like these kind of systems here with high win rates and look amazing, they only work until they don't. And when they don't work, they blow the entire account. So that's important, because if that's the kind of system being used here, which is not necessarily the case, but when a system like that is being used, it's very likely that, well, you would blow our funds, right? And that's not what we kind of want in traders, especially not the ones that get free accounts or free valuations that could become funded, right? So these both become an instant kind of easy disqualification. This looks like an easy fine, just because, you know, consistently taking trades at some level, you are going to some drawdown. I wonder what that drawdown actually looks like. So I'm just going to head down here and take a look at some of that drawdown just to know what's going on. These were all taken independently, which is good to see. You have some trades worth around, you know, decent profits. Your losses seem to be around 2K, which is about 1% of the account size, sometimes even less. So this shows me some semblance of rule following at some level, right? Of course, I think with more data, your win rate probably would have dropped. But again, this is not a competition for win rate. So just looking at this, I think this is this is a pretty good curve, and it actually does pass, even with only 12 trades, as being viable for a winning spot. So congratulations on your 9th place. Rank 16, same problem that we have with the ones above. We just instantly get rid of that. This looks actually really, really good. You have a trader that starts out, does really well, is not just capping out of the profit, which is good to see, which means that, you know, he's clearly following some kind of rules for profit taking losses, taking wins, losses, wins, taking losses, but taking them consistently and well when necessary. You can see, just like showing you before, certain points of this curve actually hit and are at similar points back here, which means that in this case, this is a trader that spent anywhere from 10 to 20 trades sitting at around a break-even level and then making more money and bringing themselves to all-time highs. So this is consistency for the most part. When I look at this, I see someone that's very likely consistent. If we look at this number 17, about an under 50% win rate, which is very good to see. Now, some of these trades are lumped together, so it's actually, we can half these trades. So just looking back at what I said here, instead of spending like 20 trades, he's actually spent around 10 trades or 5 trades at break even, which is okay. It's still nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I'm assuming he splits them up for risk purposes or whatever it might be. But you can see after his first gain, he took around a 4K risk, which puts you at around 2% risk, but he's doing that after a gain, so this is okay, and there is enough data to actually work through this and see that, you know, when he's taking losses, it's relatively consistent. So Ricky, congratulations. I think this qualifies as a spot. And now we're just going to go a little bit quicker because, you know, this video is becoming very, very long. Rank 18, I'm kind of already leaning towards one of these systems right here. So I'm thinking red, but I'm going to have to look into it just a little bit more to see what's actually going on. So if we look at number 18, some of these trades are primed together. So he took like basically a non-trade here, which is fine. A non-trade here. So we can almost ignore these trades, even though they might be very good management and break even, we can kind of ignore them. Then takes like a decent sized winner for the first time. So this winner is around $1,000. Pretty solid, so around $1,000 during these open trades here. Then takes a $600 loss, so clearly has some kind of clear rules for exits. I think one problem is the win rate is very, very high. So Kazi, like again, I don't know 100% what the system looks like. Just based on what I'm seeing here, you at least have some formula for wins and losses being taken. Some of your wins are together, so I'm just looking at everything put together. And your losses, when they do occur, are only around 0.5%. I would have actually wanted to see some of your losses be a little bit bigger, maybe like 1%. But Kazi 90, I think this is perfectly fine. I think it qualifies. Clearly, there's some form of stair-stepping. Clearly, there is some edges likely being employed, especially with the fact that you traded from the 1st all the way to the 30th. So like this is pretty solid. I like to see this. So congratulations, you win an account. Rank 19. So again, another example of very few trades. First 2 trades, huge gains. So this might be one that probably gets eliminated. So again, we have very few trades to work with. This was all traded in the first 3 days of the competition and then not touched ever again. The first trade was over 13K, so we had to break that up to be only the 10K profit, which is our rule. Your loss was around 3K and then another 10K gain in literally another trade. So you basically took 3 trades total. And 3 trades total is very, very hard to judge someone's profitability or consistency. So even if your system is very, very good and you have phenomenal risk systems and management to your systems, this is an example of something that is very hard to reward given our fair competitions. So all I can say to you is consider a one-step funded account, consider going through an evaluation, consider working with us more on that side so you can just have these kind of results play out, or even do this on your own accounts. Or try some other firms that like are more okay with you just kind of, you know, have fun with your equity curves, go fucking crazy. But sadly, I don't think it stands at the moment as a curve that makes sense to be rewarded. So for that reason, you know, very few trades. It's actually only about 3 trades that were taken. Huge, huge wins. No demonstration of proper losses or what the losses could look like. So I think this is just a very instant red. Now, this one, again, now we're starting to get into these, like, we're taking few trades, but again, it's the question of how are these few trades taken. So when I see this, you know, this is someone that had taken a huge winner out the gate. So again, and again, just looking at timing, started near the end of the competition, about halfway or a little bit after the competition, huge winner, huge losses, gives up all the profit, huge winner. So when I see this, I'm instantly thinking flip, 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 flip. So I don't think there's enough trades here. And this last one was actually 1 trade in itself. So about an 8K trade or so. So you have 1 trade, 2, 3, you have like 5 trades here. 2 of them are insane risk, basically risking all profits. That can be okay, especially if you have more data. But because we don't have more data, I don't think this qualifies as something that's very consistent. This looks more so like kind of an all-in, especially starting later in the competition. So the only advice to you is get an evaluation with us and just trade the system because it might be very profitable. Or show up to the next competitions that we do host on the first day and continue trading from there. And you should be in a really good spot. So 20 is just not going to be able to qualify as well. Rank 21. So this reminds me a lot of the up and sideways. I'm leaning more towards a neutral at the moment. It's very hard to decide on something like this right now, so we're just going to look at the data itself. So when I look at the data, we can see that actually not a lot of trades were taken. So it looks like there was a good amount of trades taken, but you can see here in the data that it was more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trades were taken. First one was a 10K win, and then you started risking about 1,500, 2K, and you basically then made 10K off this last one. So again, 5 trades, very hard to judge. All very split up. I do like that you traded from the very first day. That is a really good thing to see. I don't like the fact that, out of the gate, first day, you're 10K profit, and then your first, then your loss is only whatever this was, like 1%, or no, sorry, less than even 1%. This is kind of a hard one to deal with. It just reminds me of the make a fuck ton of money and then just kind of go sideways. It's very lackluster from a stair-stepping thought process. So for you personally, Mr. Yanzil, I think I've even seen your name a few times. Message in the Ment Funding Discord. Maybe there's a attributable mention here or something. Kind of walk me through a little bit about what you're actually doing, because yes, this ended up very profitable, but it's very hard to tell with only 5 trades being taken. So because of that reason, it's not consistent enough in terms of a short term. And honestly, while we're doing this, maybe we should start hosting some more swing or longer term competitions. And if you guys would like to see us do something like that, let us know how long, and if you'd want to see something like that. So maybe like a 3-month one, a 6-month one. Just let me know what you guys personally think about that. But it could allow people that have profitable systems like this one here, if it is profitable, to give us more information and data as to how that system actually operates, right? What does their risk actually look like? Are they just kind of all-in trades, or is it, is it coming from some form of profitability? Now, this reminds me of exactly what I spoke about before, without failure. This is an example where we just don't have really losses. If I go to rank 22, we just have like an 80% win rate, and it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So about 11 trades taken. That that could be still okay. Out of the gate, he opens up with only $1,000 gain, which is good to see. And that was from actually the first day of the entire competition. And he then it does appear like he continued to trade throughout the competition. So that is actually good to see. Okay, so actually maybe this is okay. The next win was also a $3,000 gain or so. So again, it's not like these astronomical, like I'm just going to go insane with the money and just kind of fucking all in everything. So that's really good to see. That's really good to see. Your first loss is very small. It's almost like a non-factor. Maybe it was just a good management, a tiny loss. So that's fine. Your next win was small. So this shows me there's at least probably some kind of rules that you're using to get out, whether it be trailing or something along those lines. And honestly, looking at this actually does seem to be relatively consistent. When you do take losses, the losses are well sized. They're not outlandish. They aren't just randomly inputted losses so you can take a few losses. I think just looking at this actually makes sense, and for that reason, the bede bongza, all right, you do get to take a spot, even though the curve looks very, very just kind of fucking straight up. And we have 2 more spots. Now this one, I believe, is going to be a disqualification, but let's take a look. 23. We have a win rate of around 70%, so actually this is a win rate that's lower than the one we just looked at, which is interesting to see. And the trades are... Okay, so there was a lot of curve fitting here, which means that when we look at this, we can pretty much get rid of all these trades. So the total amount of trades actually taken was more so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 or so trades, because, if you look at these, you can see that clearly these don't matter. These seem like tiny, tiny trades. Maybe they were all break even though. Maybe Mr. Vix, you can hit me up in the Discord and just let me know. But he starts trading around the 8th and does trade throughout the whole time, which is a good thing to see. The trades that he does take are potentially just break-even trades or just well-kept losses. And he does start trading a little bit deeper into the thing. And he takes independent wins. But so what I see here when I look at this is you have one loss, and the loss could have been a break even. And you made a fuck ton of money, right? You made literally 10% on the account and then kind of just went sideways. So this is really your curve right here. Just right here. We don't even have to include, like... Is there a way to get rid of it? I don't know. But we don't have to even include all these unnecessary data points here. Is there even a way to delete them? Oh, shit. All right, but we don't have to include all these data points. So this is just a kind of a straight up curve, which means that we don't have a stair step and we don't have an example of what happens when you actually lose, right? What is happening when you're taking losses? So for that reason, sadly, even though this could be very profitable, which is why now I'm thinking that having a swing format might make more sense, we can't do anything with that. Now this looks really, really good. I do wonder what your risk was like in the very beginning, just so we can double check this, but out the gate, your risk was around 3.7K. So you're getting to that level where it's a little bit almost crazy and outlandish, right? Because you might be risking more than you should be risking, but this is only around 2% or a little bit under. And on top of that, when you do take your first wins and your wins do come, they're only around a 2% gain. So that's actually a really good thing, because what I see when I see that is that you're not just taking these larger losses to get a huge winner in the very beginning. So for that reason, just looking at this, I think this actually looks quite consistent. Some trades are either minor curve fitting or are just good break evens or good managed trades that just don't end up actually delivering, which is completely viable and normal. Yeah, I think this actually looks good. So Ladzik, I think you just secured the 13th place. All right, we have one more place to give. One more place to give. Rank 25. Let's take a look what we got here. Mr. Rank 25. So about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trades taken or so. A little bit harder to work with that. Starts near the beginning and does trade into the end. That's a really good thing to see, because that means you are showing up to trade your system correctly, at least. The losses you take seem to be potential management-based losses or break-even losses. Your first win is actually a over 10K gain, so already 5% gain on the account. Kind of hard to tell what you're risking, but in the very end, you do actually end up taking 2 independent losses that are both around 0.5% of your account. So Mr. Lucky 13, and sadly to my man right here, KWS, I believe this takes the final spot. Despite only being not so many trades, we do get to see some formula for losses. I do hope that we get to see a few more losses from you in the future, especially if you continue participating in these, just because like it sucks to see just losses taken at the end, because you don't know what happened throughout the time there. And really it's like, what, 1, 2, and you took some stuff in the middle which could have just been break-even trades, and I can see that the trades are still spaced out generally decently. So for that reason, I actually think this actually makes sense as a fine spot, and I think we have our top 14. So we might make some people mad with the way that we do this, but again, like I told you guys, and like I've promised everyone that I've ever worked with and that I've ever spoken with, I am going to do everything in my power to run these as fairly as possible and increase the fairness of it with time, so that traders are actually rewarded for the work that they're doing, versus a lot of firms that will not reward you for the work that you're doing and honestly don't even want to pay you, and honestly don't even have a risk back end that properly understands how to handle risk associated with trading. So it's all just a game against you, right? Part of improving that process and making that process more efficient and fair to everyone here is, well, being as honest as possible in front of the camera and telling you what the rules look like and fixing the rules and updating the rules and updating the leaderboards and updating the way we do things and walking you through where I make mistakes, especially with the fact that when I started this video, it was basically there were already mistakes made, and when I'm now continuing it, there are beautiful things to do. So we are going to publish these results. All results, as always, are published in the the Ment Funding Discord, and they'll be posted right under comp winners. And feel free to always check out the comp rules, because they update and they're on the website, and as we update them, we make them easier and easier and more efficient and better for you guys to trade even better. And let me know what you think about the swing trading thing, all right? Bless. Thank you all very much. Bye.